Good morning, good morning. Really solid levels, man. Our look above and fail held on NQ this morning at our 700, 755. Rotated down to first pivot, bounced, held battle line as resistance, rotated down, held our two zones here. And we're now testing to see which way we were going to go. See if we get below this 380 on NQ and can hold, or if this is going to rotate and push back up. Russell leading down. From a options perspective, what we did today is we opened at max pain, and we are now at our gamma flip, and we're kind of just rotating it right now. We opened at our straddle low. That was our straddle low, and we traded up to a max pain. So I'm gonna be just watching to see if we continue to kind of just chop here, if we can flip above, or if this is kind of just gonna maintain what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of interesting that we rejected there so cleanly, the 25s. New 15s have opened, opening at the low of the previous candle. Immediate bounce so far. This is our battle line on NQ, or on ES, sorry. As well as our FTT, which is just our low, our measured low on NQ. We're watching to see if we can get above this and bid. This is our downtrend target too, from our look below and fail off of holding the exact low. Watching to see if we can get the flip above and bid, or if this is going to sustain and just balance here. In an ideal world, right, we hold this, push up, hold this, and then try to bid like that, right? Failure would be the opposite, which is this traps, rotates, holds, pushes down. So really want to see this try to bid and at least push up to our 60s here into POC. Out one from that bid. Looking for that POC. Out one more into POC, into 70. One left, 27 average. Stop is break even at 27, so if we can't get over POC, then that's that.
China's Wang Yi says actively considering South Korea-China summit in November in Shenzhen, according to Korean Foreign Ministry.
Good hold on ES at our 36s, pushing to highs. Still in my last contract here. No interest above yet though. I'm thinking that if we don't hold, if I get stopped at 27, I'll probably put my entry at 415 with a stop at 395 maybe? No. It needs to be below this, so 395, but I just want to see us hold these value lows, man. I'd like to see us come down a little bit more. I'm stopped there. We'll see if we just bounce it. It's a weird place. I didn't want to give it back. I want us to come down into this PVZ. Yeah, let's see what happens as we push down. I'm just going to try one experimental as we come down into that. Stop below 30.95. So immediately profitable. See if we get this push up and can hold, or if I'm just gonna give it back. Unsure. Beautiful hold of our PVZ. I mean, we're up 700. I need us over this this box, man. I need us over POC on the day. PVZ held great on that, but no interest yet above. Russell into VWAP, NQ into our PVZ POC, into our value high of our previous candle. We really want to see ES hold this and rotate up and try to get above. If it continues to just kind of like balance in between, there's not much here yet. Let's see if we can hold a higher low, or if that's that. Yeah, no, I got stopped. I think we're fine where we are. I'm not sure if we're gonna go lower tie. I'd have to see us below 380 and hold. I just think it might be a little choppy for right now while we're waiting. I'm very interested with what Russell's doing, if it can sustain here into 44s as ES comes down into 32s. It might be a little bit messy, so I'm just like really want to see everything bounce at the same time. But I think that there might be something here. This just might not be as clean as I want. I'm looking for something into like this 32, and then a push above. Same with here into Russell, and then a push above. And I just want NQ to hold into this and then go up and then bid above that 460. If we can do that, then we're very bullish. Let's see if we can get this bid again. Or if this holds. It's only if like Russell can get above this. That's what I really care about from a hold.
Moderna shares extending gains up more than 150%.
Why? Cured cancer? Huge.
I'm just going to activate the weekly EIA data. Crude oil inventories looking for a build of 0.2 million. Prior was a build of 17.423 million. Gasoline inventories look for a draw of 1.504 million. Prior was a draw of 0.968 million. Distillate inventories forecast for a draw of forecast for a draw of 0.982 million. Prior was a draw of 0.010 million. Crude Cushing inventories prior was a build of 1.611 million. So running them with the ranges, crude oil inventory range of looking for a build of 2.072 million to a draw of 2.768 million.
We have to shift POC on the 15. So far, it is holding as resistance and there is no change. I think that we might find a low into this, but we have to be taking profit into these highs until POC shifts down below and we're able to build above price. That's the key right now, is that we don't want to get too greedy. We have to understand that this is resistance above short term, but I am looking for price to try to hold this and to get above, right? Like that's the key, is that this is so far early. We haven't seen the shift yet. I'm being predictive with our hold on Russell and ES here.
CNBC seeking to connect companies with its GPUs to data center operators with available capacity in Nordics, according to sources familiar with the matter speaking to CNBC.
We have not been able to hold above our POC of our previous 15-minute candles. We are still seeing sell side above, and we need to be taking profit into that, or we need to be looking for this to bounce our battle line and then fail to get above, and then rotate down and then hold this as resistance for continuation, right? So again, we have to shift above or we will continue to reject into these highs. We have not flipped yet. I am just looking to see if we're going to be able to sustain this for a continuation down potentially, or if we're going to be able to hold from here. And then I just don't know. We need to flip POCs. I just want to clarify that. Back to our highs here again. We got to get above this 70. Russell still holding where it needs. Again, we have not shifted POCs. This is the first little attempt to try. You can see all of these buyers that are up in these highs. What happens if these guys fail? What if we can't get above this and then we push below our value low? That's bearish, yeah? So we want to see a sustained bid and a pop above this from our hold of our look below and fail, and our battle line here on ES. Same thing with Russell holding. We need to show interest above this 70, or this will be where you want to be taking profit. It makes sense to try to take off one here, cover any losses you had on your first push up, and let's see if we can get this flip or if they hold this again. Again, this is our first look on ES with POC being below. And you can see that that POC just shifted from this low back up to these highs, because this is where so much of the volume on this candle is trading. We need to be able to get above this. If we can do that, then we can rotate all the way up.
Indica now will lead with the EI crude oil inventories.
And ES also into resistance here. We have to be able to flip over 40s. We have to be able to flip over 70s on NQ. Russell holding where it needs to, leading us up, just like we talked about. You guys good? You take profit? You have a runner? Move stops up. If you only have one, secure these gains. We're holding our pivot. See if we can hold this flip.
10 seconds.
Another 30 points if we can hold here. This is first target on RTY into 48s.
Build of
flip
48s. We go to 52. Build of 4.405 million compared to the expected build of 0.2 million. Gasoline inventory is a build of 0.688 million. Build of 0.688 million compared to the expected draw of 1.504 million. Distillate inventory is a draw of 1.530 million. Draw of 1.530 million compared to the expected draw of 0.982 million. Crude cushioning inventory is a draw of 1.314 million.
Hold of POC to value of previous candle so far at our 70. We're watching to see if that can sustain. If we can, we can go up to our next zone, like we talked about.
We have posted out the weekly EIA inventories report on the feed for you to read through.
Do you see the shift while we were looking at this? Does that make sense? With Russell being able to bid here, giving us our next leg, the higher low. ES holding our battle line, being able to hold the higher low, push up with POC holding there. NQ coming into our target, finding a bid, looking for that continuation above 70s for that push for that next leg. Do you see that? See, that's like now you have your primary entry and your secondary that confirmed. And we're rotating up to our next target.
US imports of Saudi crude oil fell 91% to 9,000 barrels a day from the week ending August 14th, 2026, according to prelim EIA data.
We could see a loss of momentum here with us into value highs across the board. NQ's the only one that has running position left. We need Russell and ES to find higher lows here, but this is value high on both for me. We could lose momentum for a little bit while NQ tries to build here at POC. So kind of just coming back down into our 70 level, seeing if we can find a bid, and then looking for that push. Next target would be 550, 560. We need to see a push above that for more. Or this is just going to be, you know, we come down instead and then look below maybe like this. So we need to build, need to see a clear flip above 52s on Russell, or again, we might lose a little momentum here and start to come back down into this 50 to 70 first before we can go higher. We need to flip above 45s on ES. Very clear absorption into this high that we need to shift above. Half gap is 750. I really want to hold this NQ, but I don't know how much I want to give back here. It sucks. I only have one. It sucks when you know that a pullback is going to happen because of this is our resistance, but like do I want to give back 30 points? Ugh. See if we find this bid as we push back down. Yeah, like I know that it's gonna be resistance across the board, and we can see it, but I want to see the bids happen. I want NQ bidding into this 39 to 36. Sorry, NQ, I meant ES, 39 to 36, and I want to see Russell find a bid into 48s.
Shares of some crypto firms jumping as Trump to host crypto executives as SEC considers regulations. So yeah, strategy up 7.5%.
All that I care about is that we're above POCs here on NQ and ES. That is huge for us. If we can get above these 45s on ES and bid, then we're in a great spot on ES as well. Russell getting that higher low, needs to get over 52s in bid. Well, I mean, I'm pretty happy with our trade so far today. These are huge moves. Caught the low. I just have this one contract left. I don't know if we're gonna get a ton more short term. I'm debating if I like actually just hold this or I just close. I mean, I'm up like 2K on this contract right now. Oops. We're pushing into our first target here, which is 50 to 60 from our hold of our lows. Target above that would be 600 if we can flip 60. This is target. Let's see if we can flip above. ES into our next area of interest. This is our half gap. We need to see interest above this for more. Oh, sorry, this was scaling with price. We're looking for a flip above this. This is half gap. Need to get above 56s for more, boys. Above this 56 and like overnight high area, we'll be looking for 65, 66 on ES. If we can flip this. I'm deleting pathing now that it's fully played, so I can move charts. Okay. Beautiful hold from our lows. Great rebid at our 470, just like we thought, off of the flip of our POC. So even if you missed that low, you got your secondary move. All you had to do was not be shy of our structural shift, and a great play up. NQ and ES held where it needed to. RTY held, got our push, now into our target high. We're watching to see if we can flip above this. Okay, move your stops and let things play out. Above this on NQ, if we can flip, I'm looking for 600 and then 636 on NQ. Understood? ES, we'll have to flip above this 50 to 56. If we can do that, then we're looking for like 65, 70. See what I mean, Ty? You said, is NQ gonna drag ES down? And I said, no, brother, we're gonna go up. Huge. Let's see if we find a bid here. No, 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 no. It was just the recovery of our value lows, right? Like, so as long as we're inside value on ES and RTY still, I was looking at that as a potential bounce point for a relief, especially with NQ having sellers potentially off sides as we were pushing down into that 410 to like 380 area. Those guys are kind of off sides still on NQ, so I was just like looking for Russell to be able to bid that while we were coming up. That's all, right? Because we had these offside sellers below on ES that I thought could be punished. And I knew that we were gonna find or be able to potentially find that bid there into those lows, because of these participants that are a bit scuffed on ES and RTY, but I wasn't willing to hold the stop as long as I needed to on NQ from that low. I just like wasn't willing to risk the amount of points, sadly. So I got stopped out twice there on that look down, even though we didn't take out lows, so I shouldn't have stopped out. That was stupid of me, but I just was very risk averse there. And then the next attempt when I got stopped out, I just let it play because I knew that it was going to be able to hold. Here, I'm screenshotting this so that you can see it as well. It's like, this is what all of these looked like together at the same time. For me. Because ES was like, well, above previous day value. Yeah, but it's like, it was the bounce and trap. Like, this is what my ES feed looks like, which is, I think, really important because it was also our hold from our look below and fail here on NQ. And we're holding above now as well of our 50s. If we can do that, we should be able to head up. But this is what I saw on my main charts here, which is why I thought a bounce might be worthwhile. So if you're looking at my stream, this was ES and RTY here. This is our value low at 32s, and this is our value low at this 44, 45 area. And we had this really trapped trader into this low at 28s on ES, and we were holding a higher low from buyers getting absorbed into POC on the day. So for me, this was our take profit. POC is always a take profit, right? It's your first level on a traverse back into value. And then from POC, I'm looking for us to then bid our value low, right? Like, that's just natural that after a POC rejection and a look back into value that we're going to then look for a relief bounce here. And then I'm basically just looking for us to then traverse through our range, which is, again, just value high to value low here with POC in the mid as a take profit and then looking for that secondary. So as we were coming down into here, this is just where I thought a potential bounce could occur for this traverse back through because we had trapped liquidity from the other side. You feel me? So at that same time that this was happening, we also saw NQ finding a bid with these guys trapped here. So I was trying to get a good average in here, but I wasn't playing MNQ, I was playing NQ, so I got a little uncomfy with a like 50-point stop potentially. So I just like wasn't looking to risk it.
Rose last week to the highest since September 2019.
So I was just playing with like a $400 stop here, short term, and then just getting back in when we were able to push back up over that, and then just trading into POC as first target because this is $1,000 trade if we can get this. So it's a 1 to 2. That's a 2 to 1 risk to reward if I can get the look above from 400 for this push up. So that to me made sense, and then just looking for that secondary move over 70s for this rotation into VWAP, and then our value high here at 600s with that bid at the lows, just to give like context. And we had flipped to a positive delta for me as well on the 15.
US 30 Treasury yield falling 10 basis points on the day to 5.18%. Also, Canada's LeBlanc Charette to meet Greer at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time DC.
New 15s opening flat on NQ and ES. Russell trying to bid above value high, flagging. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do it in the first go here, or if we're gonna have to have one more leg down while we flag. Let's see what we do.
Shares of house builders jump as Treasury yields retreat.
They're trying to trap on Russell here into 51. Let's see if they can hold it and then pop this, or if we're going to have to rotate back down off of a failure. Really important that we see them continue to absorb here as we into this low, and then get back above from this point, or we will rotate back down to 45s, I think, before we see a bottom. Gotta find this low on Russell, or again, we're gonna pull back a bit further. ES back down to 45s if we don't find this. I'm flat on my NQ. Up 2K. I'm waiting for Russell to find a low before I get in again. I don't think we're bearish. I just think it's a bit of a too big of a pullback for me to give back profits with only one contract. I'm gonna switch to MNQ, I think, so I can scale out from now on, just so that this doesn't happen again. Again, I'm just looking for a pullback. I'm not like bearish. I just wasn't willing to give back $700 of profit. That's all. We're looking to see if Russell can hold here and get back above. If it can, then this is great. If not, then we have a bit more downside. This is us into our absorption that I posted from us flagging and holding where we need to. Again, got to get over this 600. If we can get over this guy, then we can head up to our 636, which is our next target. Russell is able to hold where it needs, but no ability to step above yet, right? It's just a slight bounce, but that slight bounce has given us an opportunity to get huge moves on NQ and ES from this hold. But no follow through yet, still diverging, right? Still just building. But again, like that move was a huge positioning on NQ and ES just from a slight bounce on Russell. It's crazy how that works, man, when we just have markets moving together. Don't even need big moves for shit to just play. Yeah, it's insane. Let's see if we get follow through. We're still seeing buyers trying here at 50s on RTY. I want to continue to see them trying to defend this and then pop us. If not, again, we're headed back down to 45s first. And this isn't bearish, it's just the reality of the situation, which is if we can't shift above this, then we're gonna have to rotate back down, and this is the top of our oscillation. and that's what it is. And then we'll just look for a larger rotation on NQ and ES when we actually come down, if it does do that. I'm not sure if it will, and we're still bidding here. It's just very two-sided. Russell and ES still look incredibly good, but just expect a potential pullback into our previous structure from this break of our flags on both of these, as Russell potentially shows some weakness. I'm just gonna put a fixed range on these areas so that you can see that. And then let's see if we can hold then flip, look above. Gotta get over 56s for that rotation up. NQ into our absorption here from our last rotation down into 600, 625 into our battle line, right, where we absorbed here. Gotta flip. Gotta show that interest. If we can do that, we keep going. RTY holding well, ES pushing, pumping, NQ into our value high. Looks great. Again, I'd love to see a move to our uptrend target 2 into 67 to 65 here. Personally, looking for this area on ES, if we can hold.
Contributes the token series side, MAU mining and energy partnership.
Look at that bounce from Russell. Love that for us. Almost at NQ target. See if we can hold. I'd love a retest on ES before we go. Maybe when Russell goes into our highs at 53.5. Maybe we get something like that and then go. That'd be solid if we could see that. And then maybe a slight pullback on RTY into our value edge here and then go. That'd be nice. Just so that I can get a good entry on that. What a nice poem, Spawny. See what we can do here. Yo, what's up, Ali? I'm doing well. We had a really fantastic morning. Just watching to see if we are able to continue pushing from here. Let's see what we can do. How are you doing? You have a good morning? You just getting on? I appreciate it, Jason. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. We'll have a bit more soon when indicators are actually fully released, but I'm glad you're liking it so far. How are the new indicators treating you guys? I mean, I think our new tools have been amazing. I think there's going to be some learning that comes with it, but once they're fully released, I think people are going to be in a really good spot. I've been working my ass off on this stuff, man. Oh, it's just not ready yet, sadly.
Just a heads up,
Trump is currently
speaking to reporters.
I am a perfectionist, and I will not give you guys a product that I won't personally trust. So do you think once a level is traded through intraday, it should not be considered? No, it depends on what that level is. If it's just like an arbitrary level on your chart, that's different than, say, a flip and hold, right? A period rotated through previous day value on NQ entirely. No, because like it can flip and hold on the other side. It's just like an order flow perspective. Then you have to look to see like how we operated there, and then if it can be contested. It just depends. But especially if you're looking at time based, right? Like we'll see like one of like Smash's levels, like one of his main levels that he references the next day is the afternoon pullback becomes like one of his major pivots. So he's looking for a rotation from our highs from the previous session, and where we then bounced mid-session if it's a reversal, and then he makes that his main level of contention for the next day, right? And that's his like afternoon pullback target. And it's the same thing on the other side where you're the afternoon rotation that is able to sustain the overall action then becomes an incredible order flow level, because that's where price was able to contest for continuation, right? So it can become a really important level. It's just it's all context, right? But I would say oh, this is our first PT here on ES from our hold, looking for our push into 65s. Look at that bid on Russell, man. Holy, I just exited one on ES here into 65s. Bro, I love Russell. Huge trades. It's so hard to automate the Russell stuff. I've been trying for a really long time. I can't. It feels so discretionary. I need to just I need to finalize the AMT stuff, and then the Russell stuff will work itself out. I just need to get a solid structural logic that will auto apply on any chart that has a volume profile and liquidity. And I will perfect that on ES, and then it'll carry over, and then the Russell layer will operate on top of that. But before then, it's just too hard. I've been trying. Because like the things that we're looking for are like intraday micro ranges, and then looking for like structural holds in like little like micro rotations on Russell, while ES and NQ are while we're referencing ES and NQ pivots, right? So like the Russell aspect is good, but it's only good with cohesive levels on ES and NQ, where we're looking for like RTY microstructure and then NQ and ES major structure at the same time for then, you know, bounces across the board. So it's very discretionary in its logic and its current form, because I don't have those structures encoded on ES and NQ. But once I have that relationship done, then I can create some sort of like oscillator with like relative beta or something of ES to RTY, right? Like what's the correlation? I could make like a correlation index, which is basically just like an oscillation of the two, and then we can go from there. I think it'll be easy once that's done. I don't know, we'll see. I think that'll probably be the move. Yeah, I think I think that's probably the way to do it. Sig, how did you outperform your automations for your backtesting data? What does that mean? Like structure-wise? Was your P&L bigger than the automated trades you made for AMT? Yes, because I take discretionary trades all fucking day, whereas systematic trades that are mechanical based off of AMT setups they're very specific, right? So a lot of the days it doesn't even take a trade, because the look below and fail or look above and fail didn't meet criteria. So it doesn't actually trigger. So I think on my current AMT system, it's taking a trade maybe every 2 days, 2 or 3 days it triggers a trade. Whereas I take, 10 to 50 trades in a day. You feel me? So like, that's a very different thing. Because I understand the relationship between my levels, whereas a system only knows the setup that I've taught it in its current form. At least I'm hoping that I can change that so the gates aren't so drastic. But the problem is that with drastic gates, it filters out a lot of the bad trades, but it filters out some of the good trades as well, right? When you have a mechanical setup like that. But with, having a human involved, I can then discriminate between the two to know, like, I'm not comfortable with this, so I'm comfortable with that, right? And that allows me to then take a lot of the trades that only got to the arm stage and never made it to the trigger stage. I just have some really heavy-handed gates right now on my logic that are preventing really solid setups. And also, I don't have access to a historic order flow for my back testing. So my back testing is only like the most recent action for footprint data. Everything else is just OHLC. So it's all structure based. Whereas like most of my entry mechanics are structure plus an order flow layer on top for execution. So my backtest and my triggers right now on all of my indicators are straight up just basic volumes and structure, because they don't have that order flow layer with the data that I have for backtesting in its current form. Once I
news, Russia's Novak says Russia has already started
get that,
importing fuel.
Then we're cooking. But basically, I'm just forward testing now all of that based off of, now that I've done the full back test off of like 5 years of data off of the structure. And then we'll forward test the execution layer with the data that I have, from my cached charts. Man, this Russell move is just so beautiful. Yo, Club, what's up, man? This is about as far as I want us to come back on ES. It's just into this value pocket here. If this fails and we trap this liquidity here after hitting PT on ES, and we are not able to hold here and rotate back up like this, we will most likely trap this liquidity and then look for the rotation and failure on the other side. Only after a offer and hold below this POC and this POC. It's a potential bid here until then. With Russell holding, I can't be bearish, but we have to acknowledge that this is potentially a trap setting up, right? It's still bid, right? We're holding value to POC of previous candle, but we have to be aware of a potential flip on a hold below this, and then all of this liquidity is trapped. So just keep that in mind short term, that that is setting up with this POC into our highs here and us below value of previous candle. We need to see a pretty dramatic bid as we push down into this. We're looking to trap liquidity here, and then hope that Russell is able to continue to lead us up. Okay, let's see what we do. Can we flag it?
XAI says Grok 4.6 is generally available on Amazon Bedrock.
It's a bit of a slowdown right now. I'm not comfortable with either side yet. I really want to see us find a bid into these lows, some sort of trap, and then higher low to auction as we push down into this POC with Russell sustaining above value high with this buyer that we have at 53.40 on Russell. NQ is okay. We're just operating at POC on the daily. I really want one more leg up, but we're just flagging here. And I don't know if it needs to come down a bit further or not as of yet. We're still holding our val low at 80s. I'm hoping that this is able to sustain and then we're able to get above this and then continue on our way. But there's potential that this rejects, traps, needs to rotate, and then come down into this first, and then we can go. So I'm just playing this as a rotational trade right now between these two pivots until we can flip above. Holding on ES. See if we can keep going here, following pathing. Russell still sustaining our edge. Later, Thai. See if we can get above the 615 on NQ and sustain. Again, this is no, we haven't breached anything yet. We haven't taken out the higher lows. We're still just in a downtrend, so we don't want to get incredibly overzealous here, but we did bid where we wanted to, which is what matters. So we're positive, but we're not home free, I guess is what I'm getting at. See if we can get this sustain from these lows, and if ES can get above this high here at 61, it needs to show interest, or this is going to be a lower high as we push into the 60, 61. Right, you can see that this is POC here. That's what I'm measuring off of. Is that we have to show interest over this guy. Oh, that is a little
US cyber officials warn of active threats to seamless devices used in water facilities and other infrastructure.
That's what I meant by it could be a potential offer. Even if we get our bounce, we have to flip it. See if we can hold this edge on NQ at that same time. And we can get a higher low on ES at that same time. We're not home free yet. Russell unable to take highs. New 15's opening here now. See if we can hold the bid, go on our way, or if this is going to fail. A little divergence here with ES, NQ pushing into POC previous candle into value. We're really watching to see if we can sustain here. Incredibly important, and then pop above. ES needs to continue to show interest here for that higher low and push above 60, 62. With NQ bidding here, or again, this could still just be the top. Watching. This ES divergence is a little gross. Need Russell to find a bid into our 53.40 again as we're coming down. NQ looks fine still. Just POC retest on NQ. Yeah, it's just the same 30-second chart, but it just has a volume profile per candle. That's all. Huge bid on NQ from our higher low POC retest. Watching our highs here. See if we get some more, or if that's that. ES still diverging, still downtrend. NQ holding exactly where it needs. Huge bid that happened there into our POC of previous candle. Needs to get above. It still needs to get above. I want to see a secondary buyer ideally here into these highs. If it's going to do that from our hold of POC. Remember the laws, right? A strong reaction at POC is a invalidation of the traverse to the other side. Yes? Exactly what you want to see. That gives us continuation potential. Now you want to see that higher low if we're going to be able to push above. We're not home free, but we did hold where we needed. Russell weakness still. Need to see this bid happen.
So we do have a live video of Trump speaking outside the White House, just speaking about the helipad and the ballroom. We'll get the video out for you shortly.
Wow, Russell still falling. Needs to fund this bid. My stop on NQ is 595 from this low. This trade's profitable, but fuck, then this divergence sucks. ES is just so much more bearish than NQ right now.
According to Tasnim News, Egypt announces diplomatic contact with Iran to de-escalate tensions.
Need Russell to find this low. What I want to see is ES find a bid into 50 to 46 and sustain here. I want to see that hold really badly into this and then get back above 55s and go. That to me is the only thing that saves this, with Russell also finding a bid in the same spot again. Failure, again, is just going to result in this becoming bearish on a retest, on a look below, with this ES divergence from those highs from our target that we took. I'm watching to see how we interact as we come down into this. If we can do something like that, that would be ideal. Coming back down into these POCs where these buyers were. And then I want to look for that higher low, with Russell also finding that bid. If ES wants to start leading down with a weak Russell and NQ can't sustain the mid, we will traverse to our low and then look for a potential continuation down. Right now, this is still much more bullish than the ES positioning. So I want to be respectful of it, but I also understand that if Russell fails to push back above this, that it will start leading down as a weakness indicator with ES. So just watching our pullbacks together and seeing if we can find this low. If Russell can find the low and NQ can continue to sustain while ES then finds its bid, then we're in a great position, because NQ had strength throughout this entire pullback on ES and RTY. And then when ES and RTY get that relief and NQ is already positioned for continuation, right, then we're in a really great spot, because then the overall market can then run. So it's just like who's actually, it's like a game of chicken right now, in my opinion. Right, like who's actually the one that's going to lead and actually be able to cause this move down. And with NQ strength where it is, I'm not too worried about it yet, but we do need to find these lows here before the structure themselves invalidate. And not only just find the lows, but also show like real interest on the rotations back up, because there's real size above us that was able to take in. So it's very important that when we do retest, that we do it with size, or it'll just be a continue of what we talked about, which
South
is
Korea seeks
lower
cooperation
highs.
in AI and other sectors with South Korea. There's China's Wang Yi speaking with South Korean Foreign Minister.
And our validation is very clear on ES, because we have 15-minute structure that we're holding as resistance right now, right? We got to get above that again. There's very clear absorption on ES into 60 to 64 that needs to flip before we can validate anything. This entire area here into 60 to 64 is our offer where they took in size. So it has to be able to show interest above this. Or again, like it's just a downtrend until we find value, right? If there isn't a buyer who's willing to sustain a low, we will continue to push down until we find them, and then we'll rotate back up to our known seller, which is into 60. And then we'll test between the two liquidity levels. I think that this is our liquidity level here on ES with our POCs and this big volume that stepped in. We just need to see it on footprint itself and order flow, right? Right now, it's just a structural level based off of historic order flow. I need to see actual buyers step in here to let me know that I'm right. Back to my NQ break even here. Might get stopped. Stop is at 95 on this position. It's very tight while we wait for the pullbacks to happen. I'm more than happy buying the bid back above. I don't care. So we'll watch to see what they do into this again. I'd rather be out and waiting for things to just find the low instead of trying to be predictive and then holding losses for no reason. Like if I can buy the right side of V, I will. So let's see what they do. Wait for everything to find the low together. That'll give us a really nice bid. Starting to do it. Same levels as before. See if we can get back above. There's been no shift on NQ. We're just holding POC of this structure. But I need to see us pop back up with ES and RTY also showing that move. There's no interest in NQ's doing it by itself. Not worth The level to beat and show interest above is 25. Now, we have this guy here who's taking in size into this 24 to 13 that I want to see us show interest over. That'll be where that offer sits. You can see that on our 15-minute candle as well. Russell, good bid so far, but no breakup downtrend, no pushback above. Yes, and still incredibly weak. I want to see us trap into these lows, man, and then I want to see us back up. So important. And I'm not seeing it flow-wise yet. We have a little trap into 49s, but it's still potential just re-offer. I want to see Russell back over 54s. Oh my god, I clicked the wrong thing. This is now 53.7.
So Trump just reiterating what he said about Kim Jong-un that he gets along with him. Nothing new at the moment so far.
I'm gonna try this again with a stop at our low, 89. Got to get over 25, so that'll be offer.
Trump has had good conversation with Canada's PM Carney last night, and we came to a deal with Canada. Trump says tariffs will be non-existent for our farmers.
One minute till new 15s. I just took off my first risk from
Trump
our
says we have no
600
tariffs
into
going
15s,
Mexico.
just in
Canada.
case. Trade's now break even, regardless if it fails here. Stop at
Yeah, Trump
89s.
says we have no tariffs going
bid
into
at
Canada.
600. First PT
Trump,
at
when asked if
615.
there is a meeting with North Korea's Kim this year, says yes. Also,
Gotta
Trump in
flip
regards to
25s.
the Canadian deal says deal is subject to finalization of documents. Trump says we had a lot of boats coming through the Strait of Hormuz last night.
Come on, figure it out. If this guy can't hold this 600 to 589 and get us over 25s in bid, we will rotate down to
Bitcoin extending
550
gain to as much as 7%.
before we find the low. 550, 560.
Everybody you have a Coinbase Circle and bullish jumpers cloud check proponents express optimism about the bill.
I just need these guys to fucking bid, man. Russell needs to get over this from our hold. Yes, has got a trap down here. Or again, it's just going to be the start of our downtrend instead of the pop back above. You can see on ES exactly what we want to watch for. We want to see a trap outside below this value, and then a rotation above this POC to value of previous candle. That's where your secondary step in, and then this liquidity then would be all trapped below. So you have your full rotation plan set for you. What we need to see, same thing on NQ, right? You'd see POC to value is the hand.
Trump and Iran says negotiations may be at some point.
Yeah, to get above. Again, there's been no right side of V yet, so just please be careful if you don't know what you're doing. We have to wait for the secondary move, the pop, and break it down trends for continuation. Right now it's a scalp between a buyer and a seller, with Trump speaking, very volatile. So if you don't have a stop set and you're buying this and you're not taking your first profit off like I did for a 1-to-1,
Israel's chief of
you are
staff
playing a different
Turkey
trade than me.
says we must prevent the emergence of a significant military threat to our borders. It's being cited by Israel's N12 News. Trump concludes his remarks to reporters, just ending it off with oil prices will be a lot lower when this is over.
So in setups like this, where I'm not sure if we're going to be able to actually get the pop above, but I do see a clear higher low, I play the higher low and then I just take into our offer. So when I say that I have taken off my first risk for a 1-to-1, that's because I have taken 2 contracts, right? And I'm playing off of the most recent low, right? This low here, and I'm buying our higher low at our old pivot, and I'm playing up into our first resistance. So what does this look like? This is a 1.3-to-1, right? So I've taken off my first risk as well as my contract fees without actually needing a breakout. This has allowed me to then have a free trade for the potential higher low while we're sitting here with no risk. And then I can add once we flip above our 25. So I'm positioned, but I'm positioned for free, because I'm playing off of this is our risk, this right here, and then the bid that happened for the pop-up. So whenever I say I've taken my 1-to-1, it's because I'm taking off my initial risk to make the trade free so that I then don't have any sort of potential to take a loss on this zone while I'm waiting. If you're unwilling to play that kind of risk or take off, you know, and let positions then run.
IDF Chief of Staff Samir, whilst on tour of Syria, says that Israel will use its power when and where necessary.
You want to wait for the secondaries and then the confirmation of the break it down trend for your trade to play. I personally like taking 1-to-1s or 1.2 or 1.3-to-1s on my first contract to cover, and then I try to leave my runner as a fat tail so that I can then get some larger gains from my running trade with 0 risk in market. That's definitely not a strategy for everyone. Some people will hate that and call me an idiot for doing it, but it's what I'm comfortable with, and it makes me not be irrational. We still have not confirmed anything as of yet, and Trump is speaking, so it kind of just is what it is at this point. Watching our flip. We should get a bid here, and then we'll look for the reoffer, and then rotation to 550 like we talked about. Russell no low yet. Yes, pushing into target off of our hold of our pathing, off of the failure to sustain. I'm looking for a reoffer and then a rotation here. Let's start 15-minute chart. I have to delete this so that I can adjust it. But here's your bid that we were expecting based off of the 15-minute structure. And this is our reoffer. We're watching to see if they will sell where we bought. This is really important that we see. If we're going to reject, we're looking for them to hold here and then rotate us down. So watching as we, I didn't mean to do that. As we push into this, if they hold this as our pivot and then rotate us from here. Some short-term absorption into that 595 so far. Nothing crazy yet. I'm just looking to see if we're going to get this leg down into 650 from this, or if we're going to be able to hold. I think we're looking for Russell into 47.60 to 45 for the low, with NQ into 50. That's my guess for the pullback. Oh yeah, no, definitely. You shouldn't be in an ES runner here. We've got one more leg down, probably. That's a good stop out. You wait for re-entry. Russell's still falling, so there's like no reason to be looking for continuation yet until we see RTY come to that low. And we're just watching to see our reaction as we dip down into view up. As soon as we flip back below 750 on ES, that was GG for the short term on the longs, just like we have pathed. I'm taking off one here into 50s. Actually taking off two here into 50s. This is target for our pullback as we push down, and watching to see how we interact off of our flip. I have one left. Just following my plan that I told you. Beautifully flipping off of that failure after taking the 1-to-1. Now let's see what we do here. Again, I'm watching as we push into this, if we find liquidity with Russell as we push down into here as well. This is where I'd be expecting that into our 47.60 to 45.10. Watching to see if we find our bid here as we pull back on NQ from our target bounce rotation. And now we're watching to see if we can get back in for this rotation up and trap this liquidity here into this low. Again, this was our pullback off of the flip of our bid that failed here into our absorption. And then we got our rotation down We held our value low, re-offered POC, rotated down, now watching to see if we find a bid and if we can get back in and then get through this absorption, or if this is going to hold, right, rotate, or if we can flip and go. This is, we need RTY to find the bid into this though. That's the key for NQ and ES to find this low. So let's see what we can do. This is just following our pathing. Yes, very weak. We already knew that. Watching our reaction as we push down into it. Here's my flip that we talked about off of that 1-to-1, right? It's incredibly important that you understand that situation, right? We took the 1-to-1, covered profits, flipped on retest, played the rotation down, covered the trade, and all of those losses mean nothing. And those two areas, and we've made now huge profit here. And I have one contract left, stop at 606, watching to see if we find our low. See if we can recover this from our low into our 50. We tagged 50 directly and then popped. We want to see a hold above this 70 to get back into this range to then rotate up if we're going to be able to sustain it. No breakup downtrends yet, not a ton of order flow, no confirmation, but we held where we wanted. Now watching to see if we can sustain here. See if we can find this bid following our pathing. First target is 600, of course, where we shorted on the flip if we can hold. And then we look for the full rotation up after that. That's first target as we push into it now. This is POC from previous candle. Need to pop and hold. NQ is just the better vehicle. I took off one there into 600, looking for the full traverse to the other side. Watch our original take profit into 13 if we're going to get a secondary, but this is where you should expect some profit taking off of the flip back in, off of our hold of our 550 like we talked about. Immediate reaction and rotation to our 550 off of our failure, rotation down following our pathing. Again, we have absorption above into 13 to 34. We need to flip above that for any more. We should expect that if we can find a bid here at 600s, that we should rotate to the other side of our value into this 13 to 34 as secondary targets until flip. Hopefully that makes sense. POC is always first target when we traverse back into value, right? This is our value low edge that we just recovered off of coming back down into our support. We flipped back in, we rotated to POC, which is again at our 600. POC is always first target. Secondary target will always be the traverse to the other side of our value on recovery. These are AMT laws. We know for a fact that we have absorption into this area above into 15 to 35. Is there an indicator to see POC better on Tradeify? What time frame, T-Man? Like just like the daily POC or like the per candle POC? What are you looking for? The answer is yes to both. I just need to know which one. So you want the daily POC? I mean, I would suggest that you have a volume profile on your chart. So the one that they include...
Canadian Minister in charge of US trade says deal will keep supply management agricultural system intact.
I think is pretty shit. The day volume profile in settings per chart, I think is not great. There's a indicator just called, I think, volume profile. Let me look what the actual name is. Volume profiles. Yeah, it's called volume profiles. It's much better. So if you would just search for this one, this one's better than the default one that they have. So you would just search that into your indicators. It's a default indicator and you put that on, and then you can separate it by time. I think having one of these on your chart and then having the delta profile are the two things that are very helpful for you to be able to see structure. So you would do the SethMo price axis volume delta and then the regular volume profile as well. And that'll show you then your value high, your POC, as well as then where large delta clusters are on your footprint, where historically, but represented as like a a side graph. Are you guys do you feel me? We just went to PT2 off of our flip back from our 50 bid. RTY found its low exactly where we thought it would, into that 47.6. ES held POC rotating up. I don't know if we're gonna get follow through. We have to watch to see if Russell can get back above. This is POC rejection on the daily. There's 1,000 contracts here that were traded on RTY into 50.7. We potentially have one more leg down if we can't get above this. We're watching to see if we do an equal or lower high, or sorry, high or low. We want to hold and then bid and do something like this. Failure will result in a rotation down to 45s first. It just is what it is off of a failure at POC. So really important that we see that. Again, I've already told you that this is where our seller sits. This is our absorption here into 13s on NQ. You can see that they are serious about it. I was not kidding.
Trade Representative
We'll watch our edge here at 72.
Will protect American workers, jobs, and supply chains and strengthen North American economy.
What we want to see is a clear bid at our value low here from our failure at value high, showing that buyers want to continue to maintain that these guys are offsides below outside of value. You want this bid to be dramatic, and you want us to show interest over 600s after this. This is just a value rotation from our highs. We want to now show that interest above and then continue upwards if we're going to do it. This has to be your first PT. This is where I expect the lower offer to be if they're going to try to defend it. We have to show interest above. Later, Ben. Have a good rest of your day. I'm sorry, these are like very quick scalps on NQ specifically. The ES setup has not played yet. We need Russell's participation. For NQ, we are much more bullish in nature and the moves are a bit more volatile and we have a bit more room. So I'm playing the microstructure while we're waiting, but ES needs to hold here, get back above, show interest for this to be anything relevant, or we will be continuing to look down. We need to see Russell continue to hold here, get back above, and then full market participation. you have to be taking profit
US
into this
trade
13 to
versus
36 until we
has
flip it.
eliminated
It's
some
just,
of the irritants it had with Canada over the last year.
it is so clear where that is our absorption area. Like it is not something you can argue about. There's someone there who is taking in size. And until we can push above, that is your offer. We have someone trying to take in size into 45s now in ES. We don't know who's going to win this. If buy side can win, then we can look for rotations up to 55s. But if they continue to defend this 45 to 48 on ES, we probably have one more leg down to 32s. We just don't have what we need yet on ES. Which is an active participant in a trap trader, trap seller at the lows. We just have like a bid who's trying, who's a bit passive, who's taking in size, but is unwilling to do anything with it yet. And I think that a big part of that is just Russell not being able to breach. So we don't know like if they're going to be able to win out by accumulating here, or if we're going to have to come down first into these lows to get a better value. I'm sorry if these terms are confusing, but like it just kind of is what it is. It's just like right now you are looking at the situation like this, is that this is our value. We are trying to maintain POC to value high. We're trying to sustain this move and then pop up. If they can't hold this and this guy continues to take in into 45s and we can do nothing with it, we will rotate down into our val low, and this will be our discount before we get our next leg, right? This is just a traverse of our range. That's all I'm saying when I'm speaking like this. It's just a traverse of our range back down from a failure to actually sustain above this value high. That's what I mean when I say that. So I'm watching them on Dom right now take in size at 45s. Right, so I can see that as a resistance. I understand where they are trading. I'm telling you that if they continue to do that, we will traverse through, right, to the value low, because we have then failed to sustain at our value high. Those are the words and the explanation of what I'm saying. Hopefully that clears it up. And we need Russell to find that low for this to play. You don't see volume profiles on your Tradeify? What? Do you have, go to your settings and see if you have volume based indicators enabled. I think it's a setting. If you are on like a prop account, you have to enable that stuff because you're not grandfathered in. So you'd go to your settings, and then I don't have an account like that, so I don't know exactly. But you like enable it in the same place where you would. You'll find it. There's only like 6 tabs in the settings section. One of them just has you like enable a bunch of shit, and one of them's like indicators and volume stuff, and make sure that that check mark is checked. I'm sure that that's all it is. And then once you do that, then you'll be able to use indicators. Yeah, add-ons. Yep, that's the section. I've been on Tradeify for so long that like a lot of that stuff is not. It's new, so I'm not incredibly familiar with it. But there's maybe like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago whenever Ninja bought Tradeify, these freaks at Ninja made volume-based indicators not free. Like they want to charge you for VWAP. But and if everyone who had an account pre the Ninja deal is grandfathered in, so they don't have to pay for any of the footprint or volume-based stuff. But every new account after the Ninja purchase does. So if you're on prop, it's included, I believe. But if you wanted to like make a fresh account and put money in, I think you now have to pay for that stuff. Absolutely wild. What's tick stream? It's just showing you the on Tradeify. I don't think it's actually all that useful. Let me look. I never use it. I'm assuming that it's just showing you the bid and ask speed, but let me look before I lie to you. Should you just leave everything stock? I mean, it's up to you, man. But yeah, you should be fine with that. The colors are pretty ass on the standard, in my opinion. So you might want to adjust the colors.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because what happens.
Here are my settings. You can do whatever you want. I think these are just default. For some reason, Tradeify uses, I think, 75 as the value area, which I think is a bit much. Usually it's 70 or 68, but I just have it defaulted still because I don't use it as my... Here, you can just... this is my settings, colors-wise. But yeah, no, it's just the same. I just have the day session on, personally. And then it's just the default stuff. I'm just using it as a value low, POC, value high. Bro, this guy at 15 is crazy. We're almost at ES target though, which is important. Because if it can find a bid with NQ holding where it is, we can squeeze sellers. We need RTY to find this low into 45s and then like actually be able to then do the full rotation back up to value high. That gives us a full oscillation of our value area to traverse, right? This entire thing of potential upside for squeeze on NQ. Because we held where we needed to, right? We just need to get through this. I'm not going to look long until we can flip and hold this battle line, because I'm not in from 70s anymore. So I have to wait. But if Russell can find this low, we will have the potential to actually shift above this, and I will look to play that long on flip. Until then, right, like this is still just absorption to me. Like I'm not fucking with it until we show that interest above. We held exactly where we needed though, like to a T, right? Which is our value low, which is beautiful. But again, like I just didn't play this rotation because I was looking at chat. But we held this guy off sides below. Russell was able to sustain where we needed. This looks beautiful. ES was able to hold where it needed to as well. Everything looks great. I just want to see us flip now because I didn't get the entry at the lows. So now I have to wait to see if we can actually flip and sustain this. It looks great though for the full rotation with Russell sustaining. Looks wonderful. Let's just see if we can actually get above this. Look how much buying is happening into this high. I can't believe I missed that. Fuck. It looks so good on ES actually. Like 600 contracts trapped at 741. What an L, not paying attention. Unlucky. Yeah, let's see if we can flip our battle line here, hold, and then go from there. What a beautiful rotation and hold of our value low of this range. From our hold of our Russell low. Do people understand the mechanics of why we're looking for what we were looking for, why that trade is expected if we were able to sustain with Russell holding into lows that was holding us back there with NQ maintaining where it needed to? Did that does that make sense to you, the failure to traverse below with trapped liquidity underneath? Yeah, I can't believe I didn't take that. Fuck, that was such a good entry. Streamer debuff, reading chat. Good hold so far. Russell continuing to push. We have room to 53.7. ES into pivot here, 55.75. Good first risk off. Needs to flip above and hold. This is POC to value high of that candle. We need to show interest above this guy. If we can do that, we're good to go. I think that you've got room until Russell loses momentum, and then we'll probably retest our battle line. So it's good for like a initial scalp here on NQ, but then I think that there's potential for a pullback as we push into this 56 and 50.7 here on Russell, and then we'll look for one more leg up to that high into 53.7 on retest. We'll see. But I've marked the zone where we've got very clear buying right on this candle, where we'll watch to see if we can hold that P shape on retest. I'm in an initial position. I've taken off half into 650, and I'm watching now to see if we get that pullback we were just talking about. And then if we can build here for higher lows. Failure to sustain back above, from this look above, and then a failure pushing back below will then trap this liquidity offsides, and then I will actually look for the reversion from a failure to sustain this distribution. So we're watching to see what we do here. I want to see bids be able to hold, rotate us up, go, 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 not fail, rotate us down, offer, trapping this liquidity above. And we want full market participation as we're doing this because we're into major pivots. We got this move because Russell found that low. It is important that we get follow through for this continuation, just like we were talking about. I think ES, if it can sustain this 52.48 area and bid here, should be able to head back up to 60 and flag it. We just have to show this interest here. We've got lots of buying in this. We just need to get through this and we should be all right. ES flipping NQ flipping our battle line was great. We just need Russell to find lows now. But we have a really nice trap trader on ES at our lows, so now we have buying really trying to step up. Just have to get above this 55. This is our like one area where we flipped absorption wise, where we trapped above, right? And then it was our shift of our pivot from where these buyers participated for this rotation up, and now us trying to reclaim that area. So if we can get through it, we're in a great spot. Do you think NQ structure looks like a blow off bottom? I mean, there's like a kind of a lack of structure below, right? So it's kind of just up to them where they want to stop this thing. On both ES and on NQ, we had some poor structure that we were going to fix, but we didn't take out the true gaps. So there's still a gap down below that we could go for. But the way that I saw it is, oh, we're holding our straddle. That's what's happening right now, 740. This is your 0 DTE straddle on SPX. These are your bands for that. 740 is your resistance right now on options. So this is what I saw, just so that you have an understanding. This is our overall value that we're trading in. So my idea was that if we were going to trap or fake out, that it would be here into these lows at our look below and fail area, and then it would be a rotation back through our value. So this is our overall balance, you know, quote unquote, that we're trading in. We failed to sustain a breach off of a, we one time framed up right here after a gap. We rotated and then we tried to sustain above. We did 3 days of balance here at our highs outside of our multi-day balance before, right? This distribution. I figured that we would tag lows, take them out, and then we would then look for a rotation back through if we got back in. So that's what I had set up from overnight from the plan. That's why I have our zones like this on NQ, which is basically us just showing that interest below and then looking for that secondary buyer to step us back up for that rotation, right? So that was the idea of why we drew what we did structure-wise last night. And you can see that here, right? Like this is the idea. If you look at NQ, it is a bid here at our 370, 400, our recovery of our 548, and then our rotation to our battle line, which is where we're trading right now. That was that failure here and that rotation up. So we've now done my entire plan into midday that I was personally looking for based off of the pathing that I put on chart. At what time was this? 5:30 in the morning when I was awake. So that was the plan. We'll see if we get the secondary leg for the full rotation of our overall balance. But right now I'm just battling right for our pivot. And this pivot is incredibly important because it's yesterday's structure. So if we can flip it, then we have upside to POC of our overall range, right? Which is my target. But right now we've already made an incredible move. That's why I was so adamant about trying to find that low there, because that was the entire morning plan, right? It pays to have a plan. It was the same thing here on ES, idea wise. Look in, failure, rotation up, right? But yeah, that's your NQ plan fully played out. And now we'll watch to see if we can sustain here or if we fail and then rotate back down. Make sense? You can say no if it doesn't make sense to you. I can go more in depth if you want. It's okay. I like messed up all of my charts by doing that. I don't know where anything was supposed to be. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're good. There we go. Do you just pick the cleanest time frame to trade on or choose levels? I trade on the same time frames every day, but my structure is not based off of any of the time frames that I trade on. My structure is based off of like daily, weekly, monthly structure, but then I trade intraday, right? So I have smaller time frames for execution. My intraday structure is always based off of the 15-minute time frame. And then I execute on like the 1, 3, 5 minute, 30 second. It doesn't matter to me. It's all the same shit. But like I always use like intraday. I'm using 15-minute structure, and then I'm using our daily structure for our actual like levels of where I'm watching for support to be. So like again, like our zones here are our main pivots on the day of like what we're actually watching for in our plan, right? All of these levels were made yesterday before market open. All of this is just structural. And like what we're looking for here is just like, how are we going to interact around our larger time frame structure? Oh, sorry, let me turn these off. And so like what we were seeing here is it's just a failure on our larger structure, our multi-day structure, right? To actually get below and sustain, and then that look back in. And then we have rules in AMT of what we're watching for, right? We have a double distribution here. We have a lower distribution and an upper distribution, and then an overall distribution, which our balance is trading in. So what I'm expecting is that on the recovery of this, we'll do something very similar like we have on the last attempts, which is recover this low and then push back up, right? So I was looking for something very similar here, and this is just a recovery of that. That's all. So what we're watching for now is what happens. I'm gonna turn off drawings. Do you see how we're just traversing in yesterday's value now? Do you find the volume data on TradingView good? Yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't trust the order flow data on historic though. It's only on loaded candles that you get good footprint data. It's not if you don't do it on if you don't have the candles cached in real time, it will not be accurate. It will be aggregate. You have to keep that in mind. I have separate charts up for my order flow, but I think it's good enough to make money trading with it. If you were just using TradingView, I have like my full order flow layout is on the other monitor. But okay, so just to come back to what we were talking about. So do you see how we are rotating our larger balance right now off of recovery, and then our targets are the recovery of our value low from yesterday and the rotation into our value high. So when I turn this back on, you can see that this was just a recovery of that here. That's why this is a look below and fail, and we were looking for a rotation back up, and now we are rotating into our val high. So now I'm just watching to see if we can sustain this. If we can, I'm looking for us to take out these, to retest this poor structure that we had up here into these highs. That's what I think that we'll aim for. Which was where we opened on the day today, which was a perfect rejection and then rotation all the way down to our lows. NQ plan was chef's kiss. Are you on ultimate? Well, I don't know what that means. Is that like a plan? Is that a plan on TradingView? Probably. I don't know. They have so many tiers. I don't have live tick data, if that's the one that you're talking about. I have whatever like the plan is that just gives you like solid load time for indicators and you know, your basic data. I don't have tick data. No, I'm not on ultimate. That's not worth it. Like I said, I have order flow charts on another monitor, so I just compare and contrast between the two. And the way that I trade order flow on TradingView I'm using a higher time frame aggregate, which is incredibly similar to my charts that are on Tradeify. I'm not counting on lower time frame tick data for delta. Anyone who does that is an idiot. What I am looking for is where were the buyers and sellers on the last 15-minute candle, which TradingView can do well. Why is that idiotic? Because it's not a platform where it's meant for. You're paying for something that's free on other platforms. Why would you pay an insane amount of money for something that you get on your basic brokerage platform? Like Tradeify just comes with tick data with your standard package. Like you can buy any prop firm and you get all of the data that you want for free. So why would you give TradingView money for something that they are just walling off so that you pay for it? That doesn't make sense. That's why it's idiotic, because anyone who's buying it is doing the least amount of effort to actually research. So I think that it's bad. And I don't even know if that data would be good. I don't trust TradingView for that. Literally any brokerage gives you basic level 2 data and tick data that is an order flow package. Like you get a free Motive Wave subscription with a prop firm that gives you order flow and tick data back for like 2 years. And then you're gonna pay TradingView $500 a month. It's idiotic. Buy a $25 prop account and get all of the data that you want and have it on another monitor. Don't get scammed. The reason why I love TradingView and why I continue to use it is because it's an incredibly easy programming language, right? It's a scripting language. So I can make the things that I want very quickly, and then I can have it on a screen of the things that I care about and share that with everyone else. So if you're like a member, you have access to my chart book and you have this link, which then gives you my live charts with updating levels. So I can then share this, and even when I'm not live, right, then you still have access to my levels without me needing to be here and, you know, handhold, which I think is incredibly beneficial. That's why I still use TradingView. It's a great casual tool, and most people who are in retail are not willing to pay for a more expensive tool. So by not utilizing it, I'm doing a disservice to everyone else, because then they're gonna have to like go into Sierra chart and try to set things up as a retail trader. It just doesn't make sense. I'm paying 60 a month, not 500. I don't know what you're talking about. Paying that much per month for TradingView is stupid. I just told you why. You get all of that data for free on other platforms. Yeah, okay. I'm done talking to you. You're like, okay. I tried to be helpful. You're proving my point about it being idiotic. All right, just waiting for Russell to get this bid again. ESN and Q coming back down after trapping into our highs. bit of a more aggressive pullback than I wanted, but it's just a failure to sustain above. Watching as we push into our lows, what's going to happen now. We got a really nice bid and rotation up, but then failed to sustain. We'll see if there's follow through here or if we're able to hold. Unsure at this point. This is a really low vol sell. I'm not too worried about it yet, but we do need to see buyers step back on it. NQ is the driving force here. We're just coming back down into ES support. RTY holding the higher low. We just need NQ to find this pullback. I'm hoping that it'll happen into this 600, 620 area. We'll see. This feels more like buy side just kind of stepping out of the way than anything else, which makes sense. It's midday. We're just reverting off of a failure to do much on the break, which is unfortunate, but you know, it kind of is what it is. So let's see what they do into this. I'd love to see the bid try to step back up from here, trap someone, and then rotate back over. Need to wait for everything to find a bid though. Looking to see if someone on ES will initiate here into 45 to 50. Same thing with NQ here into our 600 like we were talking about. No reason to knife catch. Well, we can play the higher low, but this is where I'm expecting them to try to trap. This will either be the reoffer, right, or the trap as we test into this edge. Be watching structurally, right? Are we able to get back up and then go like this, or is this going to offer, hold, trap, rotate down, and then we would have the entire range to then play, which would be a rotation down to 570 if we fail to get back above this, right? Because we're now below that same seller who was initiating here before. So then we played the range that we were in before because we've now re-entered and failed to sustain. So let's see what they do as we push in. This is new 15s holding previous 15-minute candle structure. Remember, we're just back in, right? So the sell side's taking advantage again. And until we can flip back above this, there isn't anything because we'll rotate back down. The only thing that can stop us is a strong rotation from
US
our
Trade
POC.
Representative Greer on Canada says, I feel confident that we've reached a deal to protect the US.
Watch to see what we do on retest. If it holds, then we'll expect the rotation back down to 570. Got to get back above. The failure vehicle for longs to push back is pop above from a hold here at 96 and then a rotation back over 36 for me to care. This is our mid pivot. This is our low. We are looking for the rest of the market to find this bottom as well. Or again, we will rotate our known structure just like we did on the last rotations like this. Right, because what do we have above? We have trapped liquidity outside, and we have our offer now trying again to defend this high here. Let's see what they do. We are bouncing exactly where we need so far, but it needs to be like clear and confident above 15s, or again, this will be our sell. We need to show interest back over value high and then a hold for this to matter, or it will be a lower high and then rotation back down. I cannot stress that enough. How did I mess this up? There we go. No, wait, that's still wrong. Maybe it was right the first time. Yeah. Your first PT here, if you're playing off of 615, 613, we should be able to go down. Look for the offer below 600. Still try to sweep 590, 600 for rotation down to 560, 550. Bid still maintaining here, but that's why it's your first PT. If we can flip this, we're good for the full rotation to traverse through this node. Watching to see what they do here. I have to remove this so that I can move the chart. But I don't want to delete everything. I'm just sitting at max pain right now on SPX. Still holding our straddle edges for 0 DTE. Unable to breach above. Oh, sorry, Victor. I didn't mean to ignore you. I was getting one guide. I have the 3-leg goose indicator I purchased years ago. Does that have similar levels plotted? I haven't revisited it in a while. I usually trade some ICT concepts with supply and demand. No. I mean, it has the 3-leg goose is a different strategy. It is a opening range break and momentum strategy. So it is a different model. It is still good, but it is a very different model. The similar, it can be used in with it though, right? Like order flow is just an execution layer. So you could use 3-leg goose to find solid trend continuation setups and reversion setups. But it isn't, it is a momentum and breakout strategy, not a structural framework. I don't know if you're still here, but sorry, I forgot. I did not see that. if you are still here, I'll throw 3-leg goose on and I'll show you. If you're not, I'm not gonna waste my time. So just let me know.
CNN citing some sources that say that there are good reasons for another Trump-Kim summit, including to discuss issues like North Korea's support for Russia in its war with Ukraine.
Some pretty clear absorption into 45 still on ES, no change. No change on NQ either. Needs to flip this for upside for me, or this is just going to go back down to our 570 at least. No change until proven otherwise. This liquidity is trapped on ES above. And we have someone taking in size here into 45s right now. Could they fail? Sure. But if we get below 40s, it's downside for a bit. We've got just a two-sided auction here on ES, waiting for someone to win it out. I think it'll be whatever direction Russell picks, honestly, but we'll see. It is midday, slower auction, choppier auction. We can start to care about the bid if we can get back above this guy here who's trading 620 to 630 for the most part, just absorbing into that. What sell side needs to do is show interest below 600s, and then we can go down. Or buy side needs to show interest back over 635 for upside. That's it. Like, that's either we show our interest below or we show our interest above and sustain. Failure to sustain above is just going to result in rotations back down to this, and then we're just waiting for sell side to either initiate below or for the bids to initiate above and sustain. Right? That's what we have drawn. It is the reality of the situation. Can you see the goose? Yeah. One second though, I'm in a trade. Securing my first profits here into 600, looking for a sweep below 595, 600 and reoffer if it's going to go down further. If not, this is again first PT, this is daily POC as well as our mid pivot of our range. Full traverse gives us a rotation down to 570. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Quantitative news, the escalation of regional tensions were discussed by Qatari and Saudi foreign ministers.
Why is this not loading? It just loaded 5 seconds ago. Okay, so three-leg goose is 3 anchored VWAPs, and it's looking for a basically a supportive reversion. It's a reversion and trend-based system. So it has your opening range on, and I believe this is a 15-minute opening range, and I think it can be adjusted. Yeah, it can be adjusted to whatever opening range you want. It's just, it can be the chart, it can be a tick-based, it can be a second-based, it can be whatever your heart desires. So it can change based off of your strategy, whatever you trade. I usually trade a 30-second opening range, so that's what mine would be set to. And then it gives targets based off of deviations as well if you're an opening range trader of what you're looking for, and you can change what that looks like, how many you want, etc. And then again, the strategy is based off of...
Let's get out to the US 20-year bond auction, with the US looking at sell $16 billion of 20 bonds, prior high yield rate of 5.163%, prior bid cover of 2.64.
The strategy is based off an
So looking at a
understanding.
bit of a preview then, Treasuries hold an aggressive flattening move over Wednesday's session, following the Treasury announcement of a long-end buyback boost of at least double from the $2 billion amount at current operations. The move has eroded a curve concession ahead of the day's $16 billion auction, but has created a more favorable
Out
backdrop
half
for the long
position.
end of the curve, which may support demand. Regards to latest CFTC positioning data shows speculators were net short 108k classic bond futures contracts, possible source of covering demand.
Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. I'm out half my position here for the full rotation down off of the absorption. Rotating down, we'll see what they do now. This is target into our 38s on ES and our 70 low on NQ. Anywhere between 70 and 60 is a great area to risk off half your position at least, and then we'll go from there. Absorption was incredibly clear above, made sense to hold for that and look for that sweep below. You can see that secondary played out with that bid at 590, rotation into our 96 offering, and then rotating down to target. Again, this is just our pathing here. This was because we had a trap trader on the other side of our battle line, and then we absorbed into where we saw our previous absorption before, right? You can see these buyers are off sides into this candle. You do not need tick data for this to see this. This is just common sense of what we're looking for here. This is us holding the value of our previous candle as resistance with deltas outside, and then a decision being made in a directional traverse through our clear D distribution here, right? If we fail to sustain on the outside of value, we will revert to the other side of value. That is an AMT principle. We tried to bid at POC. We failed to push back over value high, giving yourself a lower high and an entry for a rotation down. This is just basic playbook AMT setups, right? Where we use an order flow layer to track where participants are located. And then we use our actual targets, right, are based off of structure and the re-entry into our structure. This is just basic order flow and AMT concepts, nothing crazy. But there's your full rotation. We'll see if we get more. Again, I'm risked off 2/3 of my position at this point. My average is now at 600 and I have 10 contracts left. I've taken off 20. I had 30 micros in total. Okay, now that we've done that, I can go back to the 3-leg goose. Just took off another 5. I have 5 contracts left. I will run with these. I always leave my last contracts fat-tailed. Stop is now break even at 610 on my final contracts. And I will see what we do down here. It makes sense to find a bid into these lows. Again, Russell flat, so I'm not incredibly worried about like a dramatic sell. But I'm gonna leave a runner regardless. I don't care. But understand that this is target. Russell is flat. If Russell starts to flip below value and we hold it as resistance, we can keep going down. But I would expect that we find some sort of bid down here again, and then we look for the re-entry back above 570, and then we'll rotate at least to probably like 600 or something. Just a guess, but that's what happened on the last attempt, right? So I'm waiting to see if we can get that with my runners. We need to see Russell below this for more and holding. Or we will just bid back up and go through. ES coming into target 34s, 38s, this is that area where we'll watch to see if the bid holds and then rotates up, or if we're going to flip below 28s for a bear bias. Again, I don't know how much more we're going to get. This was the entire measured move that I was looking for. I've taken off most of my position. Now it is up to you to manage. Okay, I'm going back to 3-leg goose. Again, I've talked about everything I need. If you have questions, let me know. I'll answer them. But
prior high yield of 5.163%, prior bid cap of 2.64.
Okay, so three-leg goose is a momentum and reversion strategy. So it is 3 different anchored VWAPs at different price points and at different times, as well as 2 different ADRs. It's a 4-hour ADR, I believe, and a daily ADR. So it creates basically 2 different zones. One that updates based off of today's price action on a 4-hour basis. So you'll get a secondary zone in the afternoon that will update with the volatility on the day. And then you have this middle zone, which is your 30-second opening range, and it's usually your bias direction. So what you're looking for, I mean, there's a full video going over three-leg goose, by the way, and as well as a written description in the indicator. But this is basically just a momentum system where we're looking for look belows and fails, right? And then a hold of our ADR, and then you're looking for price to basically rotate up and try to sustain above this, right? So it's just a reversion system. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn that on. Where we're rotating up and then we're following our EMAs and we're looking for that continuation potential. And then these are our extremes on the day, right? Our high here and our low here. And these are the bands that we usually trade within. Let me show a previous day so that you can get a better picture of this. So this is like the system working in its totality, in my opinion, which is 30-second opening range trade, breakout failure, and then trend direction, where as long as it's holding 2 of your AVWAPs, again, they form at different times, then you are looking for rotations down to your main ADR target, which is, again, where we kind of expect price to go the maximum amount, right? It's going to go on the low. So it's just a 30-second opening range strategy. This would be first PT into our 4-hour range, right? And then when we flip that, that gives you your full daily range target. So it's just giving you structure, trades, and then a understanding of this trade is still valid until we flip above our AVWAPs here. And that's basically it. I mean, it's a super simple but very effective strategy for understanding how to stay in structure and when to be looking for trades. But it's an opening range, like I said, it's an opening range strategy. So you base it off of whatever you're looking to trade. But I personally really enjoyed the 30-second opening range. You can see that it's incredibly, in fact, effective on futures. The first 30 seconds of the market. This is a old pit indicator, right? The 30-second opening range was used in the pit. And so it is still respected quite heavily, where we get rebalancing in at the open of the market. And usually that is your pivot on the day. It is a very strong pivot. You can see how effective this is on retest. And then it's just trading again into our 4-hour range. And then you see a secondary range forms here, another level.
To get the
and then we're looking for rotation down to our ADR. So this was the secondary range that was given to you in the afternoon, telling you that we could potentially break down to those lows, and then this would be the new maximum that we'd be looking for. And you can see that we push down directly into that and then rotate back up off of it. So it's just giving you a good like structural area of like where reversion could probably occur and what your maximums should be looking for. And then using that to then play off of your anchored VWAPs. And the anchored VWAPs, we have like a full strategy that goes into it of like what you should be looking for. This concept is basically what turned into PVZ on these ADR windows. So now we have something called period value zones, where we're, instead of doing an average daily range measurement, we are doing a volume profile weighted range, which I'll show you right now. Watching to see if we get continuation down here.
5.199%, 5.199%. for the one issued.
This is our push into our 650, which is our secondary PT off of 70 fail. ES coming into lows, Russell holding, taking off one more here on NQ. Unsure if we're going to get more. Let me show you this trade just so that you can understand it from an order flow perspective. Right next to our structure. So those are that delta, right, where we're absorbing into this. You can see these buyers getting absolutely ruined and us just building our short position for this rotation down. That's all this is. And then playing it down to target. Nothing crazy. We've already determined the play on the 15-minute structure. We're playing based off of that. Our stop out is our structural level. We are playing the system because we know the system works. That's it. Like this isn't crazy.
$5.204% for the 20 auction.
Yeah, so sorry, let me show you the PVC in here, because I think that to me makes a little bit more sense. But again, there's a full video on three-leg goose, but it's a momentum strategy. It works incredibly well on crypto.
2.53.
But we then took that idea, and you can see, like, we'll see what happens here, but like this is 2 deviations away from our 30-second opening range, which is our PT, as well as our 4-hour floor. And we're watching now to see if sell side sits here.
US sells $16 billion of 20-year bonds and has tailed by 0.5 base points. It was 65.58% of bids and high. Primary dealers take 12.5%, direct 24.6%, and indirect 62.9%.
There's so much customization with this one, because Mario had a setup and I had a setup. There's something else built into it that I think is really good, Victor, which is a breadth layer. So it has Momo candles on it, which are basically a read of our ad. It's like vol speed plus tick plus something else. I can't remember. It's been so long. We made this years ago, but it's quad Momo. So it's 4 breadth indicators that are that color your candles. So it lets you know when the trend is literally bearish and bullish based off of the overall index, right? So we're looking at 4 different breadth metrics and then overlaying it on your candles as well, so that you know. Yeah. Which is, it's an incredibly effective feature when used with our other tools. It's one of my favorite things that we put on it. This was something that I transferred over from my TOS layout. But basically, when candles are neutral, there isn't a really great market movement, and you're just expecting reversion. When we actually have like strong trend down with market,
down 7.42 basis points at 5.205%.
and we have like real market participation, we're gonna get real colored candles telling you where like participation actually is located. Yeah, here, let me show you PVZ and how that compares differently to this. Again, I really think ADR is like the best piece of this in my opinion. And then this is just like a understanding of where buying and selling participation is mostly located based off of this, our anchored VWAPs. just understanding like where support would be if they were going to continue buying in this trend with our 2 AV WAPs based off of time in the beginning of the session, right? So like that's your pullback, and we'd be looking for rotation up if they were going to continue to trade. We flip our AV WAPs from the morning, then we are below the now buying average based off of the time, right? So I'd be now watching this as a resistance and be looking for sell side to try to defend this now that we've pushed down. But that'd be me if I was trading this. Again, it's a momentum system. It works incredibly well on crypto, which is partially why it was built. PVZ is kind of like the V2 of this, in my opinion. So this is period value zones, which has a very similar concept in the sense of reversion areas, where we're kind of like watching for extremes in the day. And then it creates a fixed range profile that extends outwards that we're then tracking, and it creates 3 different periods on the day. And then we have these times where we're looking for fuel or strong reactions to start occurring, based out through the day, that are all measured in real times, right? Like this is where volatility steps in. You have your opening fuel in the morning that creates a move. You have your first reversal, which also creates a move, right? You have your IB close, which creates volatility. You have your second reversal in the afternoon. You can see that that is where that high was. That usually creates a move to the other side. You have Euro close, which also usually creates a move to the upside. Lunch is usually just a continuation of whatever the direction was already, right? Like it's, so if we get a bid between Euro close and lunch, it usually just kind of traverses in that direction. And then throughout lunch, we just get a reversion back down, right? So it's basically a nothing burger move, usually in lunch. And this is just our reversion zone. PVZ zones print a reversion signal. This is the stop out of that signal. We are looking for a reversion back to PVZ. This is our value high of that period. So that's what that signal is printing, is the invalidation level, the signal that prints, and then the rotation towards our structure. We are now inside of our structure, which is what I've been talking about here, which is if we fail to sustain this as support, right, this then becomes a resistance, and then we will be looking for a traverse to the other side. This is our value high and our value low for this period. So we are now within value, and it shows you how value has shifted from period 1 to period 2 by extending that last zone, so you can see where the last ones were and then where the new one is. And then you have your reversion zones, which are based off of a, I mean, I'm not gonna actually say it, but it's based off of a deviation of value itself, basically. And you're looking for reversions off of that instead. So this is a balance model, where you're looking for basically markets to come back down to a value area. And when we hold our edges, right, that's usually a strong sense of trend, but it's usually a very nice reversal signal for reversions back to value, right, back to a fair price from our extremes, which is what the entire system is built upon, is understanding where fair value is and where your extremes are in a balanced market, and then trading around that system. In strong trend, right, we will flip these zones will actually become resistance for the next leg down, but you'll still have plenty of trades from the open usually where we're able to actually like sustain and hold that, and your zone will flip to that direction. What else is there to say about it? I don't know, there's a video on this as well, but PVZ is great, one of my favorites. When used with stacked, it works incredibly well. So PVZ is your balance system and your reversion trading. Stacked is your trend following system, which is structure ATR clouds with targets. So this is basically what three-legged goose turned into, which is this multi-legged system where you have an understanding of short-term reversals as well as reversion targets. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get rid of. Yeah, there we go. What's great about this is, so these are your stack signals for short-term reversals, and you could use these with context of where your PVZ zones are for rotations up. This is multi-index, so you can set this. If NQ is the thing that's leading on the day, then you have NQ signals. So NQ stack signals will print on the ES chart, or Russell signals will print on the ES chart.
They're responsible for US trade. Dominic LeBlanc heading back to Ottawa to meet with the Prime Minister and take other meetings necessary to finalise trade negotiations.
So when I talk about the Russell leading on the day, what I'm usually referring to is where Russell weakness is occurring. So remember, Russell is the blue signal on an ES chart. So where are we getting our major moves, right? Well, like Russell is finding that low, it's getting the bid, it's rotating up. The red signal is NQ. So NQ weakness is here, Russell weakness is here, and you have your VWAP from that period starting for that reversion down. So when we get like multiple prints of the same signal, it can be really good for confluence of like, oh, there's a potential low here. And we're seeing like NQ is really trying to find a low, and we're getting lots of signals, and Russell is as well. But the only first signal that we got for ES is this one here. So there's still like, there's definitely buying that's happening into these lows, and it makes sense. This is our PT, but we haven't really gotten a clear shift yet. And that also creates an invalidation level. I personally, I would say that there's probably one more leg down to our PVC, but there's definitely buying that's attempting to be happening right into these. But basically it just all gives you confluence, and it's just a really nice tracking. What it has that isn't here, I don't know if it's just not on. Let me look. Ah, yeah, here, this is a huge part of it. So this is your rebid reversal for the trend. This is a fucking game changer with this. So this tracks the trend and where you're looking for reoffers in the trend for continuation. So this is your rebid reversal line. And you can see that we got a beautiful reoffer for the scalp to the downside there. This is your flip for the understanding of when that failed, and then it becomes your reoffer. Do you see that? So what was support flips offer for that rotation down, and the flip of our trend then, and then this becomes your stop basically for this continuation. That's the whole idea. I can extend this so you can see that in real time. It just has a display length that you can change. So it becomes our reoffer point where we're looking, and it's our bid in strong trend, it's our resistance, where we're looking for price to be able to sustain. And when it can't, we then look for it to be then a flip and then a continuation point. And then when it's used in context with having multiple signals plus PVZ, it gives a really nice setup, in my opinion. So when everything comes together, it like becomes a pretty cohesive system. Right, like this is literally the trade that we took this morning of the look below into our reversion zone, rotation, hold of our value on retest, and then push up, right? Like this was our big trend trade today. And that's just the recovery of our value that then led to our rotation up. Like stuff like this to me is just like A+. And then again, just like we're looking for trapped liquidity into these highs, and then we look for a offer and hold of our reversion zone for rotations back down to value. And now we're just in value. I don't take trades at POC. We're between our value high and our value low. So we are at a 50-50 chance of it going in either direction. POC is a profit taking area, not a trade location. For original entries, it's just not worth it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's lots of systems, but this is more volume focused. So it's the same concepts of like the 30-second opening range, and I still use the 30-second opening range, but I just have it as a separate indicator now. So you can see like all of these are actually on chart. I just have most of my indicators off while I'm tracking structure most of the time. You can see though, like PVZ and stacked are both on NQ, and then we just have our fixed range, and then I turn on the 30-second opening range to market in the morning, and then I usually have it off because I just leave it on like this, and that becomes our area of interest on the day. And then I go and I turn off our indicators, and then we have like our full system in play. Like, oh, okay, that's our 30-second opening range. That's the structure that we need to push above if we're going to be bullish. If we can't show interest over the first 30 seconds of our market, then we're probably not bullish on the day, right? It'll be a reversion to our open and then failure. That's usually what happens. But yeah, I don't know. We've got some new stuff that's coming out soon. This is one that'll be coming out soon, which is a map for your options levels on SPX. So this is our gamma flip level, your max pain, and then this is kind of my the more interesting part. This is the straddle based off of the SPX chain for 0DTE of where we expect price to basically maintain within. It should maintain in about 70% of the time within its straddle on a regular basis. And this straddle is going to get tighter and tighter as the day comes to an end, and it's going to become less and less reliable because time is expiring, right? So like the straddle gets tighter and tighter as the day goes on because the contract's coming closer and closer to expiration. But usually price, you know, kind of sustains within that band based off of your options flow, and then of course your gamma flip of where price and hedging changes.
Private safety processing in September.
And that should, when I'm finished with this also has breath built in, which is add and VIX. And then it will auto translate to ES when I'm done with it. Right now it's a manual adjustment, but the same level applies. And this is just going to be a copy and paste where you update it on a daily basis. So a string will come into the Discord chat, and then you'll just copy and paste that in, and then it's going to adjust your levels based off of the options data for the day pre-market. So that'll be something that's coming soon. And then this system that's coming soon will be the AMT system, which is in the works. Not this. Why can't I put on indicators? Oh, because they're off. This is still going through testing. But as soon as this gets done, then we're in like a really good spot for the second wave of our indicators, which is full AMT structure on chart with reversion zones, with your battle line, with everything, single prints, targets, playbook attached based off of what we're doing on chart, gap fills, everything's going to be automated. This is still a work in progress, but that's the end goal. It even shows you like single prints that have been repaired, and then it grays them out from purple. Yeah. Yeah, it comes with it. Yes, it does. It's just not out yet. I'm still working on it, but that is the future product. We probably should charge for it separately, but there's no plan for it yet. I think it's valuable, personally, but whatever. Taking off another NQ position here, we trapped at our 50 to 60. We held our low of our balance and have rotated down. Just continuing our downside off of the failure right at that low. ES set next target into our 34s. Watching Russell was able to flip our lows, continuing down. I mean, listen, like that's the NQ trade, right? There it is. Beauty. That's why we leave our runners for the fat tail. Really nice trap, really nice reoffer, rotation below, hold, continuation down. These guys are cooked. Was the other metric used Vold? I don't know. You'd have to go and look at the stuff, man. It's been so long. I've made so much stuff since then. But yeah, Vold is one. For intraday, you really care about ad speed, which is like the speed of the market. I don't know what actually it's called in TradingView. It's the difference between the buying and selling volume, and then there's also a vol speed, there's ad, there's tick, there's Vold itself, there's what other things are there? I don't know. You can go look. It's just, if you look at it like this, it'll be in the index section. You can go and look through all of this. Uvol minus Dvol is Vold. There's a bunch of stuff that you can look at for indexes that measure volatility and breadth. There's your final target, in my opinion. This is why I said that it was probably not done. This is PVC value low. So this would be where I would be taking off some on ES. And what you're going to be watching for is, can we flip our 730 for the rotation down to 723 for the reversion zone, if this value area will flip. But this is now a full rotation from our value high, POC holding as resistance, and now rotation down to our value low. If we can hold this, you'll get a nice reoffer, and then it'll rotate down to our tertiary target into 23s for the reversion. So we'll see if it flips or if this is it. I've taken off most of my position personally. No reason not to. And we have room to the other side of our straddle at 700s, technically, if this does flip and hold. Which would be that 720 area if we hold our flip here. We'll just watch it. This is our look below and fail on NQ as well, and our target. We would need to get below 510 for continuation, get below 528 on ES for continuation, or we'll expect bids to try to be here. I'm probably gonna head out soon. We had a really good day. And I'm just in a runner now, so we'll see what they do. I'm gonna move my stop from 610 to 576. And then our target is 470, 460 on NQ for our final contracts. We've got absorption here at 525, 530 that could potentially hold. I could see that playing, maybe. We'll see what they do here. This would be our next leg if it was going to happen. Oops. watching. I'm keeping an eye on this. Let's see if this might be too large. Okay, great. This is what we're watching. So this was our absorption. Where'd my... Oh, God, I hate this tool, man. So this was our absorption before, where we had these buying deltas here, taking in size, and then we had a big sell to our target. We're seeing buyers getting absorbed here now into this 530, 525. We'll watch to see if that continues to sustain. If it does, then there's potentially one more leg down where we're looking into this, and then we'll look for that offer to then step and then rotate down to like 460. This might need to come back up to VWAP. I'm unsure as of yet. We're going to need to see what full market participation is doing. But again, they are taking in a decent amount of size here into 525, 535 right now. That could easily go bid, right, and rotate back up to VWAP if we flip. Maybe over 540 would be my cutoff. But we'll watch to see if they take in size here and then can get below 515, 510 as your trigger. If we can do that, then you might be able to see this come down into 460, I think. Just watching now to see what they do here. But yeah, we're just watching for basically these deltas here to get trapped into these highs. And we've got something similar potential here. And this is just a, right, like this is just a distribution that forms. So think of it as a box, right? And we're gonna get another box here maybe, where this buyer is just caught off sides on a failed break, right? It's a failed auction. And then he's just screwed at the highs. And then we're looking for continuation and the ability to then sustain our edge with secondary sellers stepping in to try to drive price down. So we'll watch for something similar, right? Where they'll push below that and then we'll rotate to our target if we can do that. We'll see. But that's usually how I look for follow through. Is it's like, oh, okay, are we setting up? Where are they accumulating now? Do we see something that potentially can lead to that offer and then the hold of that edge? And then once we see someone who gets trapped into those highs, we'll look for that reoffer below, and then we'll look for that secondary leg. Right, like that then becomes our arming trigger. Sorry, our arm, and this becomes our trigger, is that secondary. Right, we have to have a catalyst for the move to take place, or we should expect reversion on either side to continue. And then like failure of this would be us holding these lows and then recovering, bidding off of this, rotating up to our previous seller. And then instead of selling and pushing down, we then sustain and then rotate up off of that. And that's the break of our downtrend, right? Would be us recovering our previous sell as supportive. To then play this as our rotation. Right, that's the whole concept. It's just like, are we going to maintain sell side value and push down, or can buy side shift? And then it's like, okay, well, if buy side shifts, where would price likely go, right? Where was value perceived last? So we'll see what happens. But I'm probably gonna head out. We had a really good day. There's no reason to overstay. Just watch to see if we flip our zone or not and trap here. A good way, if you just have trading view and you don't have a solid source for order flow, is just put on a 15-minute chart, man. I'm telling you, this setup is so good. You don't need true order flow data. You can just watch to see where accumulation occurs here off of your individual candles volume profiles. So this is the deltas are the color. The volume profile is the actual value low to POC value high, which is this white dotted line. The yellow is your POC of the volume, and then your value low is, you know, the value low, right? That is your structure that you're trading around. In trend, you are looking for price of the next new candle, right? The new 15s to sustain the POC to value of the previous candle for continuation. We don't want to close above it. We want to continue to reject it. And then all you're looking for on your order flow layer is, are there deltas outside of that POC, outside of that value area at the highs? That's a potential person who's offsides. There's your order flow layer. It's super basic. If you want to get more advanced with it, you can, right? But now you have a understanding of trend and you have an understanding of why a catalyst could potentially be there, right? And then you're looking for sustained movements on a hold of POC of the previous candle, which is a volume-based chart, not a delta-based chart, so it is good. And then you're looking for continuation of that. When POC shifts at the lows, this is now a point of contention. This is a potential right side of V, right? We're now trying to sustain above value of the previous candle. What needs to happen? Well, this is a microcosm of this, right? This is the same thing. What happened on the failure on this one? What did we need to see for the downside? What did we look for? Well, you're looking for price to fail to sustain the value high and get below and reoffer the value low, right? So it's a microcosm, it's a micro version of this chart where we pushed up, failed to sustain, rotated inside, and then held that low for the continuation down. It's the same thing here. So if we trap liquidity above this and then close below and offer, that's now a potential trapped piece of liquidity. And we can see that buy side is up into these highs. And if they can't defend this low, we can then look for sell side to then take advantage for this next rotation down, right? It is a smaller version of this larger concept. It works on all time frames, right? This is the same thing. So what we're watching for is, can we sustain this? This then becomes your area where we want to see price flip and reoffer. And what we need to see is this going to be able to sustain on retest? If it does, we'll look for them to try to push back up, and then we'll target what? Where sell side was last, the POC to value here. This then becomes our target of where we would go. And if we then flip this, you then have a break of our downside and then a rotation back up to what? Well, our offer, right, where we absorbed. So this then becomes your full setup. And then what you can do with this is that you mark these 15-minute levels, and then you go onto your 1 minute or your 30-second chart, and then it's a structured trade. Right? So like I can go and let me show you this just before I leave. Right? We're looking for trades based off of our new 15 minutes. This is why I'm always talking about new 15 minutes, because we're looking for that offer to be there, and where this is our value, this is what we're watching for. We are looking to sell the POC. This is the start of what? The 115 candle. So we go to our 115 where that block came in with our setup of what we're watching for. This is then validation above. This is your rotation. Do you see what I mean by a reoffer into the open of the new 15? You can have incredibly tight risk looking for downside continuation. Right? This is what I mean. So if you don't have a setup, use your 15-minute profile and gauge the understanding of where we are, who's offsides into the highs of this. Where is sell side looking to be able to maintain? Do we still have a trend direction? If so, right, play that direction on your new 15, set your risk. Look for the reoffer, look for the rotation down into our structured target on the higher time frame. Failure to sustain the highs, we'll look for that look below. We need to now push below this for continuation, right? Oh, there's no trade, we're trading within, it's just value building, where we have equal value low and high, and we're just rotating it. Okay, we'll wait then for your new 15 for the setup, right? Every time that we do this, you need to understand like how value gets made. This is an incredibly important concept. How do you think a distribution forms? Do you think it forms in a market that looks like this and never comes back down? No, right? It would be super thin and one-sided, and there wouldn't be big nodes. Nodes form because auctions fail, and we rotate down and eat that leg that failed to break out, and then it rotated through to the other side, right? And then that happens over and over again, and we eat up those legs that fail to break out, right? And that creates structure. So when we see equal value areas, what can we do with this information?
S&P's A micron ratings
fixed range
raised
on
to
it, man.
BB plus on higher confidence in near-term demand, the outlook positive.
Yeah, easy, right? Then we have an understanding of where we need to breach below and above. And then you just extend this out the more times that we continue to maintain in our 15-minute structure. And we're just looking for that to shift. Now you have an understanding of where you're looking for fades, where you're looking for continuation, and where you're looking to traverse from edge to edge. And then you're waiting for your new 15-minute to step in. And as long as this is continuing to hold true, right, we're just looking for the next setup based off of the new 15-minute open. Are we able to sustain this? Are we able to flip this? Then we can go up. Are we able to hold this on the new 15 above value of our previous candle? Then that'd be a good sign that we want to go up. But right now you're in balance because we have two periods with equal values, right? And we have failed to sustain below POC to value of the previous candle. So what's the short? All that you can look for is that this guy is trapped like we talked about, and that we're going to continue to maintain that he's offsides from our bounce at our lows. And then we then get a continuation below this and we don't take him out. That's it. Or it's just going to be a continue to bid, and then we're looking for rotations and a flip afterwards, right? That's the entire structure that I play. It's just understanding how our catalysts form and then play structure. All right, I'm out of here. Goodbye. I'm still in this short. I'm not sure if it's gonna hold for the full target, but I'm gonna hold it for 460, 470, or a stop above 476. Personally, we'll see. This looks fine right now, but you gotta wait for a new 15. If we get below our battle line, then we have directionality. I think the plans are still in play. I don't think anything's changed. The plans that are posted in intraday ideas. Here, I'll post those for you guys that are on YouTube only so that you can screenshot if you want. I don't think our levels have changed though. Here's your plan that we posted pre-market of where we're watching for price to be able to rotate, and then the pathing for the secondary moves. You have to show acceptance below this for continuation down, or we will continue to just oscillate. That's for ES. This is for NQ. But that's good pathing, I think. We'll see if it holds or if we'll get some sort of shift here. I really liked this low from this morning. I thought that was really good. I think this might be a failure. We'll see. The way that they're setting this up right now is it looks like they want to try it. Right, we've got sell side into these lows. but there's no one off sides. They're all within value. So you have to wait for something a bit more extreme. And then we look for like maybe something like this for an upside. Because if they just hold this where it is, then you have potential for buy side to get trapped off of a failed breach. And then it's just new 15s open below value. And then you get your next leg down into 470, 460, which is target. So it's really about, can we actually sustain above this guy here and bid? Because if we do, then we rotate up and then we've trapped. If not, then we absorb and then we'll rotate below and then re-offer that. You'll have a secondary opportunity on this flip back in, because this is our value low. So, right, if we recover this, this is target 1, this is target 2. You look to traverse the known range. So that's another opportunity if you do miss this, if this actually does end up trapping and you fail to get in here, right? We'll look for that look above and then play this rotation again. Failure to actually bid above here though is going to trap liquidity, and then you look for that offer below for that next leg down. Okay, that's the only plan I've got for you in the afternoon. It's the only thing that makes sense. Everything else is going to have to be what you pay attention to with order flow. I won't be here. Put that in chat. All right, peace, boys. Goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.